The cinematography and filmmaking style of Edgar Wright.
Okay, let's go.
You've probably heard of him, or seen at least one of the Cornetto trilogy films, Baby Driver or Scott Pilgrim. Wright is best known for his fine skills of creating visual comedy. We are going to be looking at his distinguishable cinematography techniques. Firstly, let's understand what cinematography is. Cinematography is the language of film. Using colour, lighting, movements, and much more, a story is painted. The emotion wanting to be conveyed is only possible through using these components. The feelings of the story told through the motions of pictures on screen can be presented in many different ways and depends on how the directors want the audience to feel. Wright's cinematography is carefully constructed to produce visual comedy. Dialogue of jokes aren't usually necessary. Wright is able to make his audience laugh just through the use of filmmaking techniques. For example, a mundane activity presented using quick cuts. Here's a clip from Shaun of the Dead. To understand it further, let's have a look at the history of cinematography. Some of the first ever cinematographer innovators started making films before sound even played a role. George Méliès, who created A Trip to the Moon in 1903, was one of the first to realise the medium's creative potential. Directors making film in this period of time didn't have sound until 1929, so conveying emotion through other aspects and techniques of film was extremely important. It was only in the 30s that film started to become full feature length and with sound, and by the end of the 30s in colour too. This is known as the golden age of Hollywood. Now let's look at the equipment through the ages of cinema. There is no doubt that the technology has drastically improved from some of the first films ever seen. The first ever surviving film was filmed using a single lens camera and Eastman's paper film at 12 frames per second. A Kodak box camera was a common piece of equipment to use in the 30s, as they were inexpensive and simple to use. It had very few controls comparing to what we have access to today. Since Edgar Wright started making his films in the late 90s, he didn't need to worry about the absence of audio in his films, but with technology improving, so has Wright's cinematography. How technology improved the work of Edgar Wright. Edgar started making films when he was a child, but his first major film to hit screens was definitely the first of the Cornetto trilogy, Shaun of the Dead. However, the technology used in this film, comparing to some of his latest work, is a lot less advanced.
Time to nut up or shut up.
Don't get me wrong, the quality of Shaun of the Dead is great. The cameras and lenses by Arriflex are highly popular and still used a lot in film today, but the major difference I'm talking about is the computer-generated imagery as seen in Scott Pilgrim. Having looked at the specification used for this film, there is a lot more that goes into it. I won't bore you with all the VFX tools, on-set services, sound systems, and animation methods.
What? This is boring.
But with technology constantly improving, it's probably easier for Wright to display his creative ideas on screen now, due to the amazing equipment making it so possible. Wright's key people in the industry. Scott Pilgrim, Baby Driver, and The World's End was all shot by cinematographer Bill Pope. I was surprised when researching that the Cornetto trilogy was shot by different people, but you can see both similarity and comparisons in their work, both being exceptional and helping Wright create his vision. Jess Hall was responsible for the cinematography in Hot Fuzz and other films like Transcendence. Of course, the cinematographers adjust the way that they film considering the director's thought and ideas. Hall does the perfect portrayal of David M. Dunlap's cinematography in Shaun of the Dead, creating a similar comedic style for Hot Fuzz. Key techniques. Now for my favourite part. Let's explore the techniques of the cinematography and filmmaking of Edgar Wright. My favourite technique Wright uses has to be the quick cut shots. They're used for just about anything but work so well. You can tell a large part of the story through using quick cuts, keeping the audience engaged and not making those same long cut edited scenes like most films use these days. Take Hot Fuzz for example. To communicate to the audience how bored and unsatisfied PC Angel feels after moving to the remote village from London, we are shown a montage of short repetitive clips where it looks like things are only going from bad to worse. This is an interesting way of presenting to an audience either a mundane activity in an exciting way or just gaining knowledge of the storyline of the film. Another technique adding to the visual comedy is things entering the frame. You can have a serious conversation going on screen, a genuine heartfelt discussion, but when something randomly enters the frame, which is unexpected, it can be comedy genius. Now I'm going to have a go.